Captain Sumit Sabbarwal was a man who belonged to the sky. For him, the cockpit of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner was more than just an office. It was a sanctuary. It was where he felt most alive, guiding a great metal bird through clouds and across continents. With over 8,200 hours logged in his career, flying was not merely a job, but a lifelong passion. He was a veteran pilot for Air India, a name synonymous with trust and professionalism. His colleagues knew him as a man of quiet confidence, someone whose calm presence in the flight deck was a source of great reassurance for everyone, from the newest flight attendant to the most seasoned co-pilot. He moved with a gentle grace that belied the immense responsibility he carried on his shoulders. His reputation was built on a foundation of humility and an unwavering commitment to safety. Passengers who flew with him might never have known his name, but they felt the result of his dedication in every smooth takeoff and gentle landing. He was a mentor to many younger pilots, a guiding hand who shared his wisdom without fanfare. He believed that a good pilot was not just a skilled technician, but a guardian. His friends often spoke of his pure soul and his nature as a thorough gentleman. He was the kind of person you could always depend on, a steady presence in a world that often felt turbulent and uncertain. This quiet strength was his defining characteristic, both in the air and on the ground. This love for aviation was a family affair, a legacy that seemed to run in his blood. His father, Captain Sabbarwal, was a retired official from the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, and two of his nephews had also chosen to become pilots, following in their uncle's esteemed footsteps. Their dinner table conversations would often drift towards the language of flight paths, altitudes, and the beauty of watching a sunrise from 30,000 feet. Sumit carried this heritage with immense pride, viewing his uniform not just as a symbol of his profession, but as a continuation of a family tradition. He upheld its honor with every flight, treating each journey with the seriousness and respect it deserved. In his neighborhood of Yalvayu Vihar in Powai, Mumbai, he was known simply as Sumit, a kind and peaceful man. He was a familiar face, always ready with a gentle smile or a friendly wave. Neighbors remembered him not as the commander of a large aircraft, but as a devoted son, a caring friend, and a pillar of their small community. He had a way of making people feel at ease, a natural warmth that drew others to him. Even with his demanding schedule, he always found time for those around him. This blend of professional excellence and personal warmth made him a truly remarkable individual, respected in the skies and loved on the earth below. The morning of June 12, 2025, began like any other. Air India flight AI-171 was ready on the tarmac at Ahmedabad Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport, preparing for its long journey to London. In the cockpit, Captain Sabbarwal would have been conducting his final checks with his usual meticulous care, his calm voice reciting the familiar litany of procedures. For the 241 passengers settling into their seats, it was the start of an adventure, a business trip or a journey home. They entrusted their lives to the man in the captain's seat, a man whose entire career was a testament to his reliability. The engines of the Dreamliner hummed with power, promising a safe and uneventful flight across the world. But fate had a cruel and different plan. Within seconds of lifting off the runway, a catastrophic and extremely rare dual engine failure struck the aircraft. The powerful hum of the engines gave way to a terrifying silence, and the graceful ascent turned into a desperate, uncontrollable fall. In that moment of pure crisis, when chaos and fear would have consumed most, Captain Sabbarwal's training and character took over. His last communication with air traffic control was a clear and urgent mayday, a signal of the dire emergency unfolding in the sky. He was no longer just a pilot, he was the sole protector of everyone on board and countless more on the ground below. As the plane plunged towards the earth, Captain Sabbarwal had only seconds to make an impossible choice. Below him lay a densely populated residential area, a maze of homes and apartment buildings where families were just beginning their day. With the aircraft losing altitude rapidly, a direct impact was inevitable. In these final, fleeting moments of his life, he performed an act of supreme courage. He fought with the controls, using every last ounce of his strength and skill to steer the dying plane away from the houses. He was a guardian to the very end, thinking not of his own fate, but of the innocent lives sleeping in their beds below. He managed to guide the crippled aircraft towards a small green space, aiming for the BJ Medical College hostel building as a last resort to avoid a much greater catastrophe. His heroic maneuver saved hundreds, perhaps thousands of lives. Jahanvi Rajput, a local resident who witnessed the plane's final moments, spoke for her entire community when she said, "Thanks to the pilot Captain Sabbarwal, we survived. He's a hero. He sacrificed himself and his passengers to protect strangers on the ground. A final, selfless act that defined his incredible life." His last flight was not one of failure, but one of profound sacrifice and heroism. Beyond the esteemed uniform and the captain's stripes was a man of deep family values. Captain Sabbarwal was, above all, a devoted son. He lived in Mumbai with his 88-year-old father, Pushkaraj, for whom he cared with unwavering love and dedication. His father, now frail with age, was the center of his world. Whenever Sumit's work took him away to distant cities and skies, his thoughts were never far from home. He would often ask his neighbors to keep a watchful eye on his father, a small but telling request that revealed the depth of his concern. This gentle man who commanded giant machines had the tender heart of a caregiver. He was planning for a future that would be spent entirely by his father's side. The sky had been his home for decades, but he was ready to ground himself for the man who had given him life. Just 3 days before that fateful flight, he had spoken to his father about his plans to retire soon. He looked forward to quiet days filled with shared stories and simple companionship, making up for all the time he had spent away. This dream of a peaceful retirement dedicated to family makes his sudden loss all the more poignant. He was a son who longed to care for his ailing father, a duty he considered his most important one. The news of the crash was a blow to the entire nation, but for his father it was an unimaginable tragedy. The video of Pushkaraj Saharwal paying a tearful tribute to his son outside their home captured the heart of India. In his voice, frail with age and heavy with sorrow, was the sound of a father's ultimate pain. Yet through his tears there was also a profound sense of pride. He knew his son had died a hero, fulfilling his duty to the very last second. This public moment of grief was a heart-wrenching reminder of the personal cost of heroism, the empty chair at the dinner table that can never be filled. Sumit's devotion was a quiet, steady force in his life. It was reflected in the small things. The phone calls from faraway hotels, the gentle reminders to neighbors, and the carefully laid plans for a future that would revolve around family. His life was a beautiful balance between his passion for flying and his deep love for his father. He navigated the complexities of life with the same grace and care that he navigated the skies. He was a hero not only for his final act of courage, but for the lifetime of love and dedication he showed to those he held most dear, a son whose loyalty knew no bounds. The legacy of Captain Sumit Sabbarwal is not written in the wreckage of Flight AI-171. But in the lives he saved and the hearts he touched. He is remembered not for how he died, but for how he lived and the choice he made in his final moments. In the wake of the tragedy, tributes poured in from every corner of the country. Colleagues, friends, and the countless strangers he saved on the ground hailed him as a national hero. His name became a symbol of courage and self-sacrifice. A friend, speaking to the media, summed up the sentiment of a grieving nation. He tried his best. He sacrificed his life to save others. I salute him. His funeral was a solemn affair attended by family, friends, and a sea of mourners who came to pay their respects. The final rites, broadcast on television, allowed the nation to grieve alongside his loved ones. It was a farewell, befitting a man who had given his all. The sight of his elderly father, standing with quiet dignity amidst the sorrow, was a powerful testament to the family's strength. The aviation community mourned the loss of one of its finest, a pilot who embodied the very best of their profession. He was a mentor, a friend, and an inspiration, and his absence leaves a void that will be felt for years to come. In the end, Captain Sabbarwal is remembered as a man of two families, the one he was born into and the one he chose in the sky. He was a devoted son who cherished his father, and a dedicated captain who felt a profound responsibility for his passengers and crew. He lived by a code of honor, humility, and service. His story serves as a powerful reminder that heroes are often ordinary people placed in extraordinary circumstances. They are defined not by the absence of fear, but by the courage to act in spite of it. His final act was the ultimate expression of the values he lived by his entire life. Today, when people in Ahmedabad look up at the sky, they will remember the pilot who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect them. His story will be told and retold, a lesson in bravery for future generations. Captain Sumit Sabbarwal's journey did not end in tragedy. It concluded with an act of grace that will forever be etched in the memory of a grateful nation. He was a man of the skies, a devoted son, and a true hero. His flight may have ended, but his spirit and legacy will continue to soar, inspiring all who hear his story.